Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And this morning, I'm here with my friend and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we are the Biz Chicks. We just want you to sit back, relax, enjoy the conversation because today we are talking tech in easy to understand terms. We don't like a lot of convoluted stuff going on over here at BizChicks. So you're in a safe zone when it comes to talking tech with the BizChicks. We want to welcome those of you watching live and on the replay and send a shout out to all of you to say thank you for all that you do and for your attention every morning. We're here Monday through Friday at the same time, same place. So tune in. We would love for you to subscribe to our uh, YouTube channel. We're building up an audience over there, and we're looking forward to seeing you live and on the replay. So, friend, what do you have for us today?
Well, we're going to be talking about tech because it's still Black History Month. I got a couple of ladies who are in the tech world. So these ladies are making tech history. And so we're going to be
Mhm.
talking about some Blacks in tech history or making tech history. And then I was just going perusing through the different news stories with tech. Uh,
Mhm.
and because it's an election year,
Oh,
um,
wow.
yeah, so I might just start with that particular story. This is tech making story, making history. So, a lot of things have been talked about electric vehicles and how uh, across the country moves are being made to phase out gas powered vehicle sales
Mm-hmm.
and to, get the environment under control.
Oh, okay.
So, so here's something from the future of travel by Tech Brew. They are talking about electoral politics are colliding with the U.S. clean energy transition. The Biden administration is poised to slow its roll on EVs, aka electric vehicles, and this is reported by the New York Times, citing that citing sources with who are familiar with the plans to pare back forthcoming tailpipe emission standards. The report suggests the move is in response to pushback from interest groups across the political spectrum, automakers, car dealers, and unions, as a likely rematch this fall between Biden and Trump looms. So all that to say,
Thank you.
why the electric vehicle sales are up. It's cleaning up the air.
Mm-hmm.
And now they want to pull back and slow down a minute because of an election. And this person, it doesn't make sense to me.
Mm. Well,
But common sense ain't common. So if people don't like what you're doing or saying and they pull back and then you stop moving forward, I don't understand. But apparently politics is having an issue. Politics is playing a role in slowing down, if I want to interpret what they're saying. And it is slowing down the progress of the electric vehicle because of the political climate,
climate. Mm-hmm.
which makes no sense to me. But people have to have something to do and something to say.
That's
Um,
entertainment. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I just said that's entertainment. Go ahead.
Right. So, some cool consumer tech. Alex, whoever this guy's last name is, I'm not going to butcher it, at Retail Brew detailed the brands eager to put their products in front of eyeballs of Google customers.
Mm.
Um, they have shopping where you can put the furniture in your place using
Oh, yes.
augmented reality. So
Hmm.
they are talking about taking where you now IKEA was already doing this, but now if you shop on Wayfair, you can do it.
Oh, okay.
So you can
Nice.
right, and I believe you brought us a story about how Amazon allows you to try on the clothes, and
Yes.
other
Hmm.
people are allowing you to use augmented reality. It's the same technology like when you put on the doggy face and you got ears and stuff.
Oh, filters. Uh-huh.
Filters, yes. So if you can use a filter to put on your face, why not use a filter to put on an entire outfit to see what it would look like on
Mm,
you before you ordered it from the store?
that's real.
So, right. Um, the up there. So Marketing Brews Katie Hicks covered the social media aided uptick in sales of LL Bean, and the
Mhm.
LL Bean is an old brand.
Yes, it is. Mhm.
Their boat and tote, a sturdy canvas bag, and it has an online trend. The tote, which will mark its 80th anniversary, retails for under $50. Is a classic for a reason, and it's been tested to hold up to 500 pounds. It's customizable and has personal touches like a card that comes with each bag, telling buyers who sewed it in Maine. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, that's pretty good. So anyway, that's not my regular tech history. I'm just looking at why is stuff happening. So over in
What is
tech,
really going on? What's really going on?
right? It's just like, okay, we're making progress, and now we're not making progress because of an election. Does not make sense. Um, And so, one lady that I would like to talk about today is Kalia Broswell. And she is an engineer and entrepreneur. And she fell in love with computers when she was in the fourth grade. And so she has, well, she was. She founded and is now the former director of a group called InTech, where it helps
Mm.
young girls get into tech. So there was a bit of her story. Let me go over here. Um, and this story comes from Black Tech Women, and it's a publication on Medium if you're interested. Uh,
Mhm.
so they asked her, when did you decide to move into full-time entrepreneurship? So let's start. She's an established engineer and entrepreneur. She interned at top companies including Wells Fargo, Deloitte, Fidelity Investments, Bank of America, and Apple. She last worked full-time as a UX engineer, creating the experiences of the Apple products we know and love. I'm going to see if
What?
I can see the picture. Yes. Yeah, okay, let's see if I can get a picture of the young lady. Okay, I got to be in the right spots. And this is she, Kalia Broswell. So she helped in some of the stuff. We don't know who we don't know.
Exactly. You don't know what you don't know.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
So throughout her career, she had noticed that Black women were not accurately represented. So she founded the Intech Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization to inform and inspire girls to innovate in the technology industry. Okay. And she's from North Carolina and living in Atlanta, I do believe.
Uh-huh.
she said, so they asked her, when did she decide to move into full-time entrepreneur? She said, entrepreneurship has always been something that it had excited her. Even as a kid, she sold candy, CDs, and many
Sounds familiar.
things. And so she admired Queen Latifah. She was an actress, rapper, and a production company founder. She made her decision in October 27, and as she was trying to figure out her next steps and had the option of running in tech full time. So it's interesting that she is still doing things. She said you have to have a spirit of hustle and go after what you want. The door
Mm,
may close and you may not get the response you want, but if you have this spirit of hustle, you can push forward and find the right solution.
I like
So,
that. The spirit of
right,
hustle.
yes. Um, so she is a Black woman who's making tech history.
All right.
Mhm.
I'm glad you picked her.
Yeah, because she's a young lady, and I'm like, wait a minute, okay. And
Something
sometimes
contemporary.
we don't hear about the people who are doing making great strides in tech. Hey, Dr. Tati.
Good morning.
All righty then. So
Good
let me stop
morning.
and share. And I normally do tech history, but I wanted, and then I'm going to talk about one other lady. Let me find my
Okay.
notes. I'm doing new things with notes. Uh, Ashley Tolbert, and I think I have a picture of her. Let me see if this is going to bring that picture up. Not there. I think, oh, I found her picture. So I can talk about her on the notes and show her picture. Show and tell. Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you all for your patience. Present. Share the screen. Go there, go there, go there. So
Oh,
Ashley Tolbert, another young lady, tech, tech. Anyway, she's a
tech diva.
cybersecurity. Yes, tech diva. Yes, she is a cybersecurity engineer at Stanford University's Linear Accelerator Center,
I
SLAC,
love it.
and a technologist fellow at the National Security Institute. She's worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, the AB Research Center in Germany, and JP Morgan Chase. She has a master's in information security from Carnegie
Hmm.
Mellon University and
Woo!
a
Let's hear
bachelor
it from Pittsburgh. Go
and a bachelor's in software engineering from Auburn University. Ashley is
ahead.
passionate about creating opportunity for others and helps to increase um, women's participation in cybersecurity by volunteering with the nonprofit Women in Security and Privacy, WISP.
Wow. Did
Yes.
you know there was such a nonprofit? Anyway,
No, and but see, we do need some. We need some cybersecurity because people are doing weird.
wonderful things, especially now.
Right, with AI and some other things.
Mhm.
So I wanted to bring you at least two people who are doing
Great things.
tech, making uh, making strides in tech history. So
Wow.
that's just what I
That
have
was
for you.
good. That was good. You go, Tech Divas.
Mhm.
Yes, no, that is absolutely amazing because I think, oh, sorry, dropped my microphone. I think often the energy around young women, especially young
Mhm.
Black women, getting into professions is not often around tech. And so I love to see this happening. She's an example to so many other young women that this is something that is possible and something that you can do. And quite frankly, something that is lucrative. There are
Yes.
so many. And in fact, the university that I teach for, they University of Maryland Global Campus, one of their big areas is cybersecurity. For those of you who don't know, UMGC was really founded for military personnel. And so most of my students that go there are either military themselves or
Ah,
married to military or connected in some way. Now, you don't have to be that to go there, but
mhm.
because that was the initial mission, we have an awful lot of military enrolled students. And so the next thing that seems to be very popular with that population. So we have a very big cybersecurity program. So I'm really glad to see young women, particularly young African American and people of the African diaspora, getting into it.
I
Yes,
love it.
yes, yes. Whew, we learn
Amazing.
things when we go and read.
It's amazing what you can find out, isn't it?
Hmm. I
On
was
the internet machine. Uh,
right. I was talking about that with somebody today. Like we got to get out of the house, literally out of your digital house too, where you just
mhm.
like I only go here and I'm gonna stay right in this little block. I'm gonna stay on my block. It's okay to go and find people in the areas that you're interested in. If I'm interested in tech, let me see who out here is doing some stuff in tech. And like we talked about with Miss Kalia, some of the stuff that she's done is because she worked with Apple on some projects and stuff, and we don't get to hear about the people in the background that are doing things.
That are making things happen.
Right. And she's making things happen for the technology that we're using. And then the other young lady, she's keeping us secure or helping us stay secure if
Hmm.
we would follow the instructions.
Yes.
So that's what
Instead
I
of the
got for you.
instructions.
Okay, Terry, it's your turn.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's just a pleasure to be here today, and I have two articles that I want to share with you. You know, I like video, Fran. So,
Hmm.
and I came across this when I was trying to figure out what else do I want to share during Black History Month, surrounding what's going on in entrepreneurship and in tech, and I found something from the past and something from the past. So I think I'm going to start with uh let's see. I think I'm going to start with Gideon Bluford Jr. I think that's how we pronounce his name, or is it Gudion? Anyway, we'll find out in just a moment. Let me share my screen with you. And can you see that now, ladies?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Yes.
start the
Tonight,
video.
we hear from a trailblazer on what is a milestone anniversary. 40 years ago, on August 30th at 2:32 in the morning,
Scroll down a little.
also known as Guy Bluford, became the first African American to fly in space. The retired Air Force pilot and astronaut is still hard at work in aerospace engineering, and he calls Westlake home. He celebrated the historic space shuttle flight at the Great Lakes Science Center.
For me, it was an exciting experience. I still look back upon it with a great deal of pride.
Dr. Guion Bluford was selected by NASA when many minorities didn't see themselves reflected in the astronaut corps. He became the mission specialist for the 8th flight of the space shuttle and the first Black man in space.
So I take a great deal of pride in opening that window and giving other Black astronauts the encouragement and support for them to fly in space.
Upon returning to Earth, he knew he had to fly again. And he did. 3 more shuttle missions, totaling almost 700 hours in space.
The view out the window is spectacular, and for me, I enjoyed the zero G. You get to see the world from a very unique perspective.
Bluford talked about his accomplishments at the Great Lakes Science Center before a preview screening of the National Geographic documentary, The Space Race, for which he was interviewed. He's now looking forward to our return to the moon with Artemis, when the first woman and the first person of color will walk on the lunar surface.
I think it'll be another great step forward for us, and it'll give both minorities an opportunity to walk on the moon and open up that vista for other astronauts that'll follow.
I could talk to him for days. He doesn't want to talk to me for days, though. But Bluford does visit the Science Center often. If you get to run into him, make sure you say hi. He talks to school kids. He's encouraging them to reach for the stars. Now, that documentary, The Space Race, will be released on Disney Plus in the coming months.
Wow.
I thought that was, I'm sorry. He is 81 years old. To be able to meet one of the first African Americans to travel in space, and you just walk by them. He could be walking through the Science Center and you just walk right by him if you didn't know who he was. So I think a lot of times we just, like you said, need to know more about who we are and who our people are so we can recognize them when we see them and maybe get an autograph on our program while we're walking through the Science Center.
So he got tech dudes, tech
Yeah, and
divas. I'm still not going to the moon, but
an aerospace engineer.
Mhm.
Okay, from what decade? The 60s? I don't know.
It was 40
Wow.
years ago. So yeah, that was 40 years ago was the 80s too, right?
It was the 80s, 70s, 80s. Yeah.
Stop playing, for real?
Wow. So I thought that was interesting. But now I want to share something with you that's a little more interesting, I think. And you know how a lot of times we like to flip the script on different things and rebrand them. Well, here's a whole rebranding of what it means to be a cotton picker.
Okay.
Let's take a look.
Because you know
Let's
that word
take-
has certain connotations. Okay.
I know. That's especially Black History Month. Okay, so how are we doing here? Can you
Yeah, pull it
see?
up a little more.
Black farmer fights stigma around cotton.
Okay, so push
And it's a magical plant at that. It was people that was oppressive and made us work like we was machines. However, this is a new day. No one's making me do this work. No one's pressing me to do any of this work. So I had to decide to change my perspective on this. It's actually something to be proud of.
In today's world, it's all about marketing the product that you raise.
He's taking over the business from his father, and buried on their farm is the former slave in the family who was forced to work in these fields before buying the land as a free man more than 100 years ago.
That's here, and it made me always feel like I had to protect this area.
Julius Tillery says today, people need to see the pride in what he does, and not just the pain.
Everything's intentional. We're here because of cotton in many ways. We just gotta not take it for granted.
It's so important, and it comes from this little plant.
So let's make the best of it. Let's change the bad narrative and let's bring people together over it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right.
Okay, I wanted to show you that because he actually has a contract with Van Shoes. They buy cotton. They have produced a line of T-shirts with the cotton ball in full bloom on the front of the T-shirt, and he calls it the Black Rose.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that nice? It's just, and this is 5 generations of Black farmers in that one spot. And he indicated that there are less than 100 Black cotton farmers left in America. And remember, this is U.S. grown cotton. Another thing I think is interesting is that about 3 or 4 years ago, I did a piece on how they were changing the lining in pockets in jeans because they were running out of cotton in India. It wasn't, for some reason, they had some kind of infestation or something, and there was a shortage. And I wonder if this helped keep American cotton farmers in business. But it's a blessing. The young man attended North Carolina A&T, I believe, but his farm is located in North Carolina, and he is trying to encourage people to hold on to the land. He is training others how to actually grow this crop, and I just thought it was amazing. I had no idea that Van had this product going on, and it's had its, I think, since 2016.
Well, see, Van shoes are very popular.
Yes,
The shoes are
but
very, very popular.
I didn't
Cam,
know about the T-shirts and you know what I mean? The
well,
paraphernalia.
yes. So here's the thing that stood out to me was the
Hmm.
fact that he flipped the script and did, okay, we can make a business out of this because the crop is
And
still out in
market
the field.
this.
The people need cotton. I would prefer cotton over blended fabrics any day. Like, remember the commercial that used to say something about cotton?
Yes,
Okay.
talking about sheets, I believe it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, the look, the feel, the cotton. It was a thing to have cotton, and
Yeah, the fabric of our lives.
Guys,
thank
that's
you.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, literally that, now see that right there, cotton is literally the fabric of the African American lives in America. And I'm glad he said something about that, because when everybody else is turning away from doing that, he's still there,
Mm-hmm.
benefiting from it. I'm like, and he could have let that go.
Oh yeah.
And so what else are we turning away from, and that we could be benefiting from and having
Embrace and market. Yeah.
embraced and marketed? Because there's more than, look, Levi's use cotton.
In their
There's
pockets all the time.
I'm talking about the denim is made from cotton, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but also the pockets. That's how the story came up about
Right.
India. They had to change the lining in some of the pockets because they had a shortage of cotton.
Right. And how many, I like cotton tees.
Mm-hmm.
The cotton dress is cool in the summertime.
Well,
Seriously.
they have started a whole culture around this. So, thing I thought was interesting was when I looked in their shop, they showed reefs, they showed burial reefs, they showed different objects that were making out of this natural cotton product, as
Not
well
to
as other stuff.
mention, okay, Q-tips. There's a
Mhm.
whole lot of companies that can be benefiting that. And when people talk about U.S. What is it? American brands, American
Made in
made,
the
or whatever.
USA.
Well,
Mhm.
okay. Well, why, get your cotton from here.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
this is very interesting because there are a lot of different things at play. So the first thing I'm thinking about is the fact that we are no longer, for the most part, an agrarian society anyway. Most people are
Mhm.
not farming, but I think that Black people in particular have a contentious relationship with farming and farming systems because of historical racism,
Correct.
because of, there were even some. I have a friend who is from Pensacola, and her family like really didn't teach her to farm. They were farmers, but they didn't teach her to farm because she jokingly says they said to her, she gonna do better. So they didn't teach her to farm. And she's like, I kind of wish they had, because so there's this attitude that, sending your children to school and having them be something better than
Mhm.
farmers is going to be helpful. But, we have so few Black farmers that maybe we need to look at, even though we have agricultural and mechanical programs at some universities, I don't know how populated they are. So that's one thing. The second thing is, that trauma that's associated with that has not been dealt with. And so I don't know how many people want to go into that, because that
Sign
also
up.
means going backwards into that trauma, that level of trauma that already hasn't been dealt with, and you don't want new trauma. So I think that could be part of the problem. Number three, cotton is a great fabric. It's fantastic.
Mhm.
However, it takes a lot of water to produce cotton. So I'm wondering how they're going to look at sustainability issues when it comes to that, because I think that's also part of the reason that people were moving away from that, because it takes so much water. So while it is a great natural fabric, conservation on a water standpoint
Right.
is very high. So it's like, okay, how do you balance that with still producing this, but then looking at the water and conservation of water? So those are the things that immediately came to mind with this. But this is an amazing story. So I'm hoping that all things come to. You know what? Another thing is, they didn't say in the story, but I'm wondering if they can, like the North Carolina A&Ts, the Alabama A&Ms, the ones that are historically Black colleges that also have agriculture program. Tennessee State has an agriculture program. If they can actually give like adjunct professorship appointments to these farmers so that they can actually educate on this. Not that, because the people that are teaching this, they're scientists, they're not necessarily farmers themselves right now. So just a thought.
That makes sense.
It's a really good story. Thank you for bringing that. Carlos has a comment. He said, made in China, manufactured in the USA. But in this instant, this cotton is made here. And then Mark has a comment. He says, on the top of the other challenges, climate change would make farming a bold choice. Someone has to do it, but what a challenge.
Exactly.
Well, if we're pulling, remember we've had stories about pulling water out of the air.
Right.
I mean, things are changing constantly, and things have a tendency to come full circle, like the river in Death Valley. So you don't know where the water's going to show up. It looked like they were doing pretty well. And when you see the longer videos, you see them, they have columbines and sprayers and things working those fields, you know. So
now I would want
I would also run a destination for those people who want to come and see how to handle it,
see it, because see that's a good, okay, so like this is history,
exactly.
Right? And so get on taking the kids to see what happened in history. This is the fields they worked in, blah, 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 blah. And you can talk about that part of it, but I would want to go just to see. I live in California. I don't know if we got cotton farms here or whatever. But,
I'm sure we do.
But I'm serious, but I don't know. But I would like to go and visit a farm.
Cotton is no joke when it comes to picking and cleaning it. It's no joke.
Right, because it was a whole bunch, but there's a history. The history can be told, the story can be told, just like going to any other museum, like what do we got here? Sutter's Fort or something, and you go through, and here's what happened to the people. Okay, can we do that?
And here's an experience. Yeah. And Mark says, has anyone mastered pulling money out of it yet? Yes, honey. They never do it if there wasn't any money in it.
No, he says, he's asking, has anyone mastered pulling money out of the air?
Well, if you can pull water out of the air, you can exchange that for some money.
Isn't that the same thing? I mean, this is off, but like with the water situation with cotton, I'm assuming there's another situation with avocados. I remember reading that a few years ago. That avocados, it takes a lot of water to grow that crop, but then there was the demand when avocado toast was in demand, and all of these things.
Listen, I have an avocado tree in my backyard. That thing is wonderful, but it is the bane of my existence because it produces way too much. Thank God it has not produced in a minute. And I think that's because of me cutting stuff back. But when it did, It's like you can't control the squirrels coming, eat half of it, throw the rest on the ground. You're constant. No.
Listen, you need to pack. If you got too many, pack them up and
Pack
ship
'em
them to
up,
New
ship
York.
them, and get paid.
I don't think you realize how tall this tree is. It is really serious. Like I can't reach them, so I try to get them before the squirrels do, and I never succeed because they can climb the tree. So,
I hear you.
but all these fruit trees and things seem like a cornucopia. Yes, mango trees, all of them, but in season, these things produce a lot. And if it's just you or just a few people, you're gonna have to sell them.
Mark is funny. He said Tachi's an avocado assassin. Pass it on. I think maybe that's a thing too. Okay, this is because I like business ideas. Having somebody in the neighborhood or somebody in each community would be, I'll go pick your fruit from the trees in the neighborhood, right? Because most people are not going to go, the homeowners, they got lemon trees, and I see stuff on the trees all the time, like Dr. Tachi is saying. The homeowner is not going to go and do it.
Isn't that what the gleaners do?
No, the gleaners go to farms and pick up stuff
around the outside
of the farms, but not in the neighborhoods.
Oh, so we need some urban gleaners.
Yes, we need somebody that will go through the neighborhood and is not afraid to put a ladder up and go get pick the fruit, because people are hungry and there's food everywhere. I was walking somewhere and I'm looking at this lemon tree just full of food, and it was hanging over somebody's fence, but I was like, okay, there's just food everywhere.
God is good. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys about this whole rebranding of what they call black cotton. And that's what I had to share today. I thought I was fascinated by it.
It was really good. I'm intrigued. I'm like, wow. And what else do we got laying around that we're not cultivating or putting to use? Okay. Hi, TJ.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing TJ.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Happy weekend. I'm just listening to all the conversation. I mean, I came in on the end of the cotton discussion, so I'm assuming there's some backlash about using cotton, or
no. This was a story about a young man who is fifth generation black cotton farmer in America, and how he rebranded it. They call him the Puff Daddy of.
Oh, okay. Smart move. Because like you were saying about, there's some negative thoughts about cotton, which it really shouldn't be. It's just a plant. I mean, come on.
What happened?
What happened to our culture and cotton that's because of the people in a certain region. Has nothing to do with the plant. It's just a plant growing, going, hey, I'm cotton, make some clothes out of me. And I'm like, I love cotton. So I was just like,
where's the other shot, Terry? Where's the one, even if you had the video with just him?
You could just put the link. I'll watch it later. I'm just, trying to see, was there a backlash against the plant cotton, making clothing from it, which they've been doing for centuries, Egyptian cotton. Hello. So
okay, yeah, because Egyptian cotton is the thing, everybody wants the Egyptian cotton.
But see, what I'm saying is, like, we're getting into this area where everything is being, and there's a certain generation which I like to talk about, but they are being revisionist history, going back and pulling up something from 1880 whatever and saying this is wrong. I'm like, well, that was 1880.
Yeah, because so the guy, it was really good story. So
I will watch it, but I'm just saying I'm starting to get tired of it. They're going back and digging up things and saying, see, this person did this and this person did. I'm like, come on, that was 1980, whatever. What are they doing this year? That's all I'm concerned about.
So I'll put the link.
Trump supporter
to a different one here.
Don't start nothing. There won't be nothing.
That's what I said. Let me start. I care about what they say, this century, this decade or whatever, or this decade, not century. So I'm like, don't, let's leave Cotton alone. Cotton is not doing anything to anybody. That was
And
people.
that's his point.
So,
And now he
yeah,
has a contract with Van. I showed the
it's
T-shirts. Hmm.
it's a very lucrative industry. Cotton. What's wrong with it? Cotton. Hello. So
Yeah,
I
the
just wanted to get clear on that because I
yeah.
feel like a thing, and it's a certain
Well,
demographic, a certain
certain
age group.
things happen when you see certain things. They like,
And
okay,
yes, but what I'm saying is we have to get out of that. Like Cotton didn't do anything to anybody.
Yeah, get the triggers have got to go.
Plans
Like,
that they figured out how to make clothing that kept you cool in the summer. So
amongst other things.
I will look at that later. I'm interested in that. I like things like that.
okay. So I put it in the
Put it in the private chat, please, too.
okay. I can
Yeah,
put it in
yeah.
the private chat, too.
Okay. Well, TJ, what you got for us?
Okay, this has been a kind of a lean week, so there's a few stories. And let me see. Was there anything? I always start with Snapchat. I don't think they haven't been doing anything lately because their last quarterly earnings report was disappointing and they haven't done anything. I guess they're laying low. All the others are too. But Meta's doing something. Let's get into Meta. Meta's doing a little things here and there.
All right, Brad.
What isn't Meta doing is what we should be asking. But go ahead.
Okay, so Instagram is testing options to create alternate image backgrounds. So they are playing around with their sticker feature in feed posts and stories, which it's like they're giving little things for influencers to do because TikTok has all these great little things for people to do, and so they want you to have fun on Instagram because there's a lot of unhappiness over there. So they are testing some new things. They have a new AI backdrop sticker which enables you to replace the background of any image. Think green screen. You seen the TikToks where somebody has an article and they're talking about and they got a little tiny head and they're talking.
Yeah.
So Instagram is putting all that in the feed and the stories. So they're saying the backdrop sticker works by identifying the main focus element of the image and separating that from the background. You can replace it with another generated option, green screen AI. Let's throw AI in there. Another element they're testing is get orders stickers. So this enables brands to create a product in stream, then attach that to a feed post or a story to drive direct responses. So really it's just product tagging with this get order sticker. Gives you another way to drive orders from your IG account and saying that instead of you having to put up an IG shop, which I think I tried. I went through that process. I think it's a little complicated because it's connected to your Facebook page and something catalogs. And I was like, I don't got time for this Instagram. This is too many steps. I don't
Convoluted.
Right. So they heard the message and now they have this get order sticker. Now they're doing a lot of things with stories, getting you interactive with stories because that's another place for interaction and that is another feed. Remember, Instagram has a bunch of feeds and different algorithms. There's the feed algorithm, there's the Reels algorithm, there's the story algorithms. They have the broadcast channels, they have the notes if you're a non-business account. They got all things going, and we've said it before, they just confusing the heck out of everybody.
So you got too many clicks in literally.
Yeah, you don't. Where do I go? We talked about it. Okay, so Meta is testing cross-posting from Facebook to Threads. Now, I think we mentioned this before, but what they're doing is test or cross-posting between Facebook and Threads. Some users are being promoted to share their Facebook updates to Threads. Now, I've seen Threads posts in other places. I can't remember. I think it was Instagram. And it's like a little shelf. You know what a shelf is like? A little section when you're in Instagram or Facebook, and there's a little, it goes across and you can scroll. That's called a shelf. So they're sticking it there. Those in the test pool are now seeing a toggle to turn on Threads cross-posting. Meta has confirmed that the option is in limited testing on iOS and will apply to text and link posts, but not video updates. It's not being tested in EU at this time. Also, so they're saying it makes it easy to share your updates with more people. But why do you want to share? If you're not on Threads, why would you want to? Because most people who are on Facebook are there. Like, they're on Facebook. They really don't even do Instagram.
Mhm.
Facebook people. I mean, the people. Go
May
ahead.
I ask a question?
Mhm.
I think this is our mantra here on the show. Who asked for this?
Nobody.
Woo!
Nobody
We
asked.
need to do a Tech Diva
Who asked for
special
this?
on who asked for this. All the stuff people never asked for.
Mm.
So this is what's going on with Meta. Meta needs us more people to use Threads. That was why it was connected to your Instagram account. That's why it was like, oh, the first couple of days or whatever, it was like
Yes.
it was like an astronomical number of new
Correct.
users. Well, they weren't new; they had Instagram accounts. Okay, so now it's not to take away from Threads. Threads is a good product. They're still finding their way, and it's going to be a long road. But they're trying to say, hey, you on Facebook? That's a great post on Facebook. Why don't you put that on Threads and get more exposure or get more whatever? Now, it depends on what kind of user you are. I just said the average Facebook user is what age, what are they doing over there, and what the heck is Threads is what they're saying now when they see that. They're like, what the heck is Threads? I don't even know what that is. Millennials, they're on Instagram. They already seen it and go, like, I don't, some are using it, some not. But all it is Meta is pushing you to go over here and use Threads and go over there. And that's what it's about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Did you think it was something else I had to talk to?
No. I should know by now that there's no rhyme or reason to the things that they do. Well, there is a rhyme or reason for them.
Rhyme.
There's a rhyme and there's a reason for them. But for those of us that kind of investigate further, that look like, and I know this is what you want to do, but it feels like there is always a part missing. Just as you said, Instagram, the Threads seemed to have all these buku users, but no, they were just Instagram people who wanted to see what was happening. So if they weren't new people, these were not new users. So likewise, if we know that the Threads user is not the same necessarily as the Facebook user, I'm wondering why they think something like this would work.
Why Threads would work, or why Threads would work, or why the cross posting would work?
Why the cross posting?
They've done it with Instagram and Facebook. They do it with. Remember, you can, when you do your Instagram stories, they ask you, do you want to put this on your Facebook page? Or your reel? That's the cross posting. They're just naturally moving into Threads.
But there are still some people that don't have Threads.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm wondering why they think this would work. Is this like a push for people to sign up for Threads? Because my thing is, if I already don't have Threads, the feature to post to Threads is null and void to me because I don't have it. So that's why I'm just kind of wondering about.
No, you're on the right track, and this is what Meta's saying. And I said, Facebook users, they're like, what the heck is Threads? Because these are the 50 and up crowd, 60 and up crowd. They're like, what the heck? I never heard of no Threads. What is that? Some may investigate and some may not. Meta's taking that chance because Meta's a big company like Apple. They don't have to worry about that. They don't have to worry about you being dissatisfied. They don't care that users are dissatisfied. If you don't know it by now, please.
They don't care that we're
complaining about Instagram. Meta doesn't care. They're a company. They'll care. The end result is ads.
Yeah, they don't care that we are confused. Stop messing with stuff.
I think we're misled by what it is that's working for them. What's working for them is they can say we have a new product and now, our stock goes up.
There you go.
All right.
That is a
confusion.
corporation.
Makes
the
sense.
days of early social media where it was like, oh, it's fun and we're sharing it.
It's
That's
over.
a corporation.
Yeah, ball of confusion.
X is a corporation.
So,
they don't care.
Are we still on Meta? Because I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I still have not seen the bookmark on Threads. Has it
Me
rolled
either.
out?
It's in testing. It's been testing
okay.
mode.
So I thought they was going to
No,
roll it out.
it's in
Not
testing.
worthy.
Oh,
It's in testing. They have a crew that they test on. We're not in the crew.
Oh, we're
again.
What?
Corporations.
You're not worthy, girl. Not yet.
They're doing corporation things. They're doing GE things. They're doing Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever those companies do.
Mm-hmm.
Meta's a corporation.
Oh, what do you call that? The taste testing.
They are beholden to their shareholders. Those are the only people that care. Because if they cared, they would have changed the algorithm back to chronological, whatever people have been crying about for the last 5 years. Meta does not care. They only care that brands are running ads, that businesses are running ads and getting Meta verified. That brings in income. That brings in revenue. That makes the shareholders happy. It makes the share price go up. They don't care about you. You can come and go. Facebook has, what does Facebook have? The users, worldwide, they got 2.3 or 2.4 billion users. Not active users, just accounts.
Yeah.
Let me see.
It looks pretty good on paper.
Trying to get the last number because I always forget. Facebook.
They have billions. They don't care about
2.3.
They have
3. Oh, they reached the 3. They have 3 billion monthly active users. They have 3 billion monthly active users. And they realize, just like when dating, I could do what I want and you will continue to come back.
Okay, let's see how that works for some day. Some people ain't coming back.
Right. They don't care. Some people won't come back. Hey, bye. There'll be somebody else coming along. There's another bus coming.
It's a new date coming.
And Threads is their new bus. And what is that? Okay. Threads is their new bus. They want you to get on. And what we're talking about is Meta is concerned with those people who are not tech savvy or know the stuff that we know. They know those people don't pay attention because there's a lot of people out there that still don't know about OpenAI and generative AI. They don't pay attention to that kind of thing. That's not in their daily purview. They care about what's going on politically or whatever's on TV. So Meta knows that. Meta's like, okay, we're going to do what we want. You can cry and scream in the corner and yell at us. La, 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 la. This is what they do. I'm sorry. That's how it is. Now, what we do with social media as business is we take whatever free tools they got, whatever their little thing they're giving. I'm going to go on that track and build up my audience until I get to the point where that car runs out of gas and I got to go and buy an ad. I'm going to be like, here's $2. I'm not going to give you 100, but here's $2. Let's see where it goes. Meta's like, okay, I'll take you $2. Multiply that by 3 billion people. So this is what it is. So they will try things like this. That is to get it in front of your eyes. So if you don't know about Threads, you go investigate. If you don't like Threads, you ignore it. They're going to take that chance because they have the cash for that. They have the money for that. So okay, we are out of the charity we having fun part of social media, which is what I talked about on Tuesday, that is now media. And Meta's that's the perfect example there. And also the lady we talked about on TikTok, which I believe she's now going, she got a free trip to Paris, and I think BMW is giving her a car.
Listen, have you all watched
I watched a few of them.
I watched the entire 50 episodes.
You did?
I did.
Do tell.
Okay. Just tell me because I didn't watch it all.
So this is exactly why you need nothing. You need to do nothing else or use this as a podcast as you're working, because you will be drawn in. This is, and I actually am going to talk about this during the media part of it as well.
Okay, so give us a little bit of your opinion, and then we'll get into it.
So I watched all of it. My thing was like, okay, well, let me listen to a few, because you talked about it. I said, okay, let me listen to a few, and I had heard about it.
Yeah,
you don't know how addictive it is until you sit and you're like, for real?
She's
Girl,
a great
then what
storyteller.
happened? She's an excellent storyteller. And so what's happening is that you start to see people who will try to do the same thing, because the thought process is, if this worked for her, it will work for me. My dear, you are not her. My dear, you cannot. She is a good storyteller. You are just spewing rubbish about your baby's father or your baby's mother. I don't want to hear it. She was purposeful in it. And so the thing is, this was an excellent piece of storytelling, because it went in order. And if there were parts where she needed to, I think it's somewhere around, like, there are two parts, like episode 16, and then another one down the line where she listened, she looked at the comments and saw there was confusion. So she would record another episode to say, all right, let's use this as a clarifier. Here, I'm going to clarify this, and this. So it's also paying attention to your readers, your viewers, your listeners. If you see that there is something that's not clear, clarify it. So she recorded an entire video, or entire 2 videos, to clarify at the point. She also would go back and recap. So just like you would in a normal show, previously on such and such, she would recap, not the entire thing, but just highlights of what happened, so that people who would be joining in knew, because the average person was probably like, I'm not going to sit there and watch all 50 episodes. So you got at least a little bit of what was going on from the previous episode from that. It was it was very entertaining. And so this has actually sparked, I won't go too far into it, but it has actually sparked some other videos, not just reaction videos to this. Everybody and their mother has a reaction video to this, which is good. You know, it gets people talking. But old boy himself, who she called Legion, has come out of the woodworks and responded to this. So I'm like,
the
you
ex-wife, I saw a
trying
video
to protect you, but you came out of the woodwork and now said how trifling and who you are. So
and there was an ex-wife. Did you see there's the ex-wife?
I saw the ex-wife and the ex-girlfriend. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the ex-girl. Okay.
To corroborate the story, the one that he was living with too right before her.
Okay.
They both corroborated her story. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. She is not lying. This is true. This is him. My thing is like, sir, you should have just stayed quiet in the background. Keep quiet.
We didn't know who you were.
We didn't. Nobody would have. But see, this is the thing about these moments of fame. For someone who was really he wasn't trying to stay in the background, because it feels like now he's trying to capitalize off of all of this by getting more followers. And I looked at his TikTok account. He only has like 500 something followers, which may have been, before all of this happened. She's now on 1 million plus followers. As you said, she's gotten trip to London and France. Also Hilton chimed in and I think gave her a place to stay while she's there. So I back messaged her and I was like, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's wonderful. I think you should be a producer of this show, because it's called YTF. Who TF did I marry? I'm like, produce a show with the same name and hurry up and trademark it, because
Well, she can't. Well, hold up. She can't do that because there's already a Max show called Who Did I Marry?
Is there? I didn't know about that.
Yes, it's been out already. Yeah, I think
it's a series. I think it's a series.
It's a series. They got like 12 or 13, 14 episodes. Yeah, there's already a.
So this must be new, because I knew nothing about this.
Yeah, I didn't either. Now it's not to say, and there's a certain demographic on this show, and she might have looked at that and went, okay, I could do that for this demographic. Which
absolutely,
there's nothing wrong with that, but she can't trademark it.
Well, then she
So
actually needs to be careful then if that's the case.
yes. See
She
that,
needs
and
to be
that's
very
another side
careful.
of it. You have to be careful before you, and these are things that you're not thinking. You know, you're not really thinking about beforehand. But she
Right.
can't trademark because there's a Mac show already.
Didn't know. I don't even have Mac. So go ahead. I just want to chime in and ask.
No, because I know you was gonna bring it up. I just like to touch on that, and you know, this is what I was saying about Tuesday, that it's media now. It's not social media. The social part has gone underground. Private conversations.
And you told us about that.
Snapchat.
You told us about that about 3 or 4 years ago.
I said that it will go on because I saw it. Because a public conversation, there's the attack, the trolls, and whatever. People are sensitive to that. There are underground apps. There are lots of apps. Is this something called group something where your families can get I forgot. It's called group something.
You mean Group Me?
I don't know the name. There's an app, and like a lot of families use it. They don't use Facebook. They use it to communicate. Some people use WhatsApp. Some people use the kids. The Gen Z use Snapchat. There's Signal. There's Telegram. Those are where the private conversations are going, because if it's a group of people who want to be private, we're keeping it with us.
I think it's Group Me.
Group Me. Okay. And so remember high school, you had your little clique of people, and how did the story get out? Well, one of you told. How did it get out of the group chat? Well, somebody did a screenshot, and it's happened over and over and over with Facebook. There was the fire department, and somebody did something racist, and it was in the group chat. Do you remember that story? It was in the private Facebook group, and they were like, how'd it get out? Because we all racist up in here together. So ha ha ha. Who did? So somebody got in, or somebody told somebody who wasn't with that kind of activity and was like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. Let me come in there and pretend and, screenshot and get on out and tell the world what you guys are doing in here. And it has been a fire department, it's been police department, it's been a whole bunch of things like that.
So Group Me is the free, simple way to stay in touch with the people who matter most. And one comment here, or one review: I love Group Me. I use it for groups at school, at work, and for one-on-one conversations as well. All around, it's they say it's a great. Boy, she don't wrote a manuscript down here. Anyway.
Yeah, so see, if you don't like WhatsApp for the reasons that we have stated before, you have Group Me, you have Telegram, and those are private areas. And then once you say something in there that maybe somebody gets offended, then the news gets out. But otherwise, it all stays below the surface.
Slack is even though we think about Slack for enterprise, there are an awful lot of people that will have like a Slack for, I'm in like a few different Slacks for different groups, like people that when I was on Busker, we had a group of us that were from Busker. We had a Slack. So that's also another method.
Yeah. Think a private intranet.
It's just you clustered over here, and this is our gang. Oh, who was on the Little Rascals? Had their little gang, but okay.
So that's where you want to know, as a business, as a brand, where the conversation going for the last few years. That's where they are, because they feel safe there. Safety is paramount to them. So they might peek their little head out and go, oh, well, what's the conversation? And maybe you say something public, but they take the conversation under, I called it periscoping. They come out and look, and now it's more and more. So that's where social media is turning into media. It's and the I was watching the Country Wayne episode with Club Shay Shay. Club Shay Shay is another example that we talked about, where he's doing 3-hour interview. Who heard of that before? 3 hours. And then here comes Cat Williams to blow it all up, and here's Monique and Country Wayne, and Country Wayne is a good one if you haven't watched it. He talks a lot about what I'm talking about, that he discovered the game of making money on using social media, and he's making content as a comedian. He doesn't even make content anymore. He pays people to make the content for him, and he posts like 6-7 times a day. I haven't finished the conversation because again, it's 3 hours.
Oh my
It's
God, I'm
Club
not
Shay
doing
Shay.
it. You like
But I'm
Dr.
going
Tachi,
back to it.
Dr. Tachi said you got to put that on in the background and just let it play.
Yes,
While you're
but see,
doing
that's
something.
why I love it. It's on YouTube because I don't have to watch.
Mhm.
Unless I, they say something funny and I might want to go, but I can do other things. So the thing with Risa Tisa, whatever her name is on TikTok, she made a playlist and she said, "Listen, I know you guys, you don't have enough time. Just put it on and listen. You don't have to watch me because she's talking, so you don't have to watch." So this is where the media is going. Who needs Tubi? And then I heard Freebie was going away or something. I don't know. I know Dr. Todd, you will talk about it if it's true or not. I heard something about Freebie, Amazon's Freebie, all of these free platforms. You don't even have to go there. Just go to TikTok, Instagram Live, Facebook, even depending on your demographic. That's why I talk about demographics a lot. That's why I talk about generations, because each generation has their own way of consuming content, what they want to hear, who they want to hear, how you say it. It's like a language. It's like when you go to France, you speak that language. When you go to Italy, you speak that language. You go to any of the Asian countries or wherever, you have to learn their language. Else you're going to be like looking crazy, like, well, nobody's talking to me. So when you go to Facebook, there's a certain demographic that how they want things to be, be said. They don't want to hear the Gen Z terms because they don't know them. They don't know those Gen Z terms of cap and mid and things. They don't know that. So if you come over there talking crazy like that to them, they're like, well, I don't know what you're saying. Blah, 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 blah. The peanuts and the teacher. Wah, 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 wah. That's what it is. So there's no communication. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, we're getting off track a little bit, but that it's very fascinating where it's going, where social media is going, and you can see it going that way. Okay, all right. So let me move back. my bad went back to sleep. Let's see. So I think that was Meta, right? Meta doing their thing. Let me check. Meta. Yes, cross posting. Oh, Threads. Let's talk about Threads. Threads is testing an in-app camera shortcut and draft. So they're testing two of the most requested features. That's not true. The bookmark is the one, but that's me personally. Drafts and in-app camera. Instagram head Adam Mosseri says that both features are available to only a small number of people. Again, they have a little group of influencers that they use to test it on, and we're not in the cool group. Users who have access to the drafts can save only one post. You can write the post you might want to post later, and the composer, blah blah blah, just talks about how to. It's the same thing if you've used Twitter. Remember Twitter? You can, if you don't finish it, it asks you, do you want to save it in the draft? You can, you do a reel. It says, do you want to save it in the drafts? That kind of thing. So, all right, hold on. I got a text. Hold on a second. I gotta check this out. Just
So, social media isn't social anymore. It's just media.
Who knew?
Right. It's like, oh. And it's kind of true because we don't get our news from, you get your news online. Everything is online now. When do we don't even get a chance to go pick up a newspaper. You know how you used to be able to go to the porch, get the paper. Hey, neighbor, we don't do that. We don't even want the neighbors coming by the house.
okay, sorry about that. I had a text that I had to
reply
to. All right, so that is what Threads is, testing their things, and they're spiffing up their house and getting ready.
Whatever.
That's what they're doing. Don't expect Threads to go anywhere. Mark Zuckerberg is invested in it, so just expect more testing and more things. All right, TikTok launches its add to music app feature, and it's available in over 160 countries. They have a Add to music app feature where lets users add a song playing on a clip to services like Apple Music and Spotify in 163 new countries. They first rolled this feature out in the US and the UK in November. They expanded it to more countries. Now they've added more countries on to the list. This function lets users add the song to Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Spotify depending on the availability in the region. User will see an add music button below the clip description, and then they can tap on the button and select the music service of their choice, and then they can choose the settings that they want to do. Now, this is not going. They're still going with the Universal Music Group that they are not. So that's still going on. So it has to be non.
It's non-universal music that you ain't getting that, but you can get whatever other music is still there.
Right. And then if you're a Swiftie, you guys are making your own cover songs.
Yeah.
They're a special group. Okay.
Yes.
Enjoy. All right, Google. Google's done some things this week. Google has a built-in AI writing tool powered by Gemini. Gemini is their generative AI tool that they rebranded from Bard, and now they collectively put all the tools under Gemini. Same thing Microsoft did. They started out with Bing Chat. Now it's called Copilot. So all this is just branding issues, which I mean, it's smart. It kind of, again, a lot of people do not pay attention to what's going on with generative AI. We do, because this is Tech Right Weekly, and we deal with tech all during the week. There are people out there that don't know these things.
Right.
So it's confusing to call this thing Bard and that thing that and that thing that. So you want to have a brand name to tie it under. Very smart. Google, theirs is called Gemini. Microsoft changed theirs to Copilot. Very smart. Now they talk about, you go to Bing Chat, you download the browser, and you do. See, they got rid of the confusion.
So here's the thing, because Copilot is actually ChatGPT.
Yes, but Microsoft version.
Right, but it's still easier on the brain to go to Copilot.
Yes.
Instead of trying to figure out what Chat GPT. Wait, what is this? Is it chat? Was it GPT?
Right, because remember, it's been a year. It's been a year of generative AI, Chat GPT popularity, where it was easy to use. And I think I said in the beginning that it was going to be integrated into things, and we weren't even going to call it generative AI. And here we are. We're not calling. It's just you're going to pick up and go try to do a document or an email or Gmail, and it's just going to do things. We're not going to even call it Chat GPT. It's just going to be, that's how we do things. And we're on that road. This is how we do things.
Yes. And I like Gemini a whole lot better than Bard, because Gemini is again easier on the brain.
And if you use Gmail, you're just going to go to Gmail and just do things. You're not even going to say, oh, that's Chat GPT. Oh, that's Gemini. Oh, that's Bard. You're not even going to use those words. We're just going to do it. You're just going to do it. Like when you want water, what do?
Go to
there was a time when you had to have a well, and it was in the backyard, and you had to go and because I always bring up these things because my mom was on the farm. She always told me these stories. Like, you want water, you got to go back there and you got to pull the thing and do this and that.
Climb the pump, all of that.
Now, what do you want? What you go to your refrigerator. You don't have to open the door.
A bottle.
So that's what this is going to be. It's going to be just doing things. I need to write a letter. I need to send an email. And you're going to say it to the air if you have an assistant.
So you'll be like one of them 1950s films. Miss Tweed, take a letter, please.
Star Trek. What did they do on Star Trek?
Computer. Well, and see, the in those movies and stuff, the secretary was the computer. The secretary was Miss whatever her name was. She was doing everything.
I remember. I can't remember which Star Trek movie it is. It's one with the original cast, and it was something about they had to go get the whale to save the future. And I don't remember which one it is. I just know that they had to go, and then they were going to the nuclear power plant or something. I remember what's his name? The captain, not the
Kirk.
captain. No. Oh,
Spock?
I'm drunk. Who?
Spock?
No, the one that was in the bottom doing
Oh,
running the
Scotty.
engine. Scotty.
Scotty.
Yes. So they went to some like engineer company or something because they needed some kind of glass that hadn't been invented. So they were going to go and give the plans to this company so they would be innovative. And he sat and the guy was like, "Okay, here's the computer." So he sat down in front of the computer and started talking. Computer, and everybody around him like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then the guy gave him the mouse, and he was like, "Oh,
what would I do with this?"
That stuck with me since I was a kid, because that's where we are now. You're not going to use a this. You're not going to use a this. You're not going to use a phone. You're just going to the air. You're going to walk in your house and blah blah and say what you got to say.
Just like Tony Stark did when he was like, "This is the Avenger thing," and you just went,
yes,
and
that's
it was
what
like
it is.
stuff was playing all in the air.
Minority Report, another one. These are things that we're going to do without even thinking. We're not there yet, but it's going to be that. Where you won't call it chat, you won't have to, let me type it. You're just going to say what you got to say.
And stuff happens.
Right.
And it will be like, wasn't it like magic on the Star Trek? Warp speed, warp drive, and it happened.
And the computer would talk back. Now, if we did that, the chances of you have an 86% chance of blah 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 blah.
Don't we have that now? If you've got a Google device or the Amazon thing, it does it now.
Right. And it's
annoying me because now I gotta figure out how to turn it off on the Amazon thing. I get thing about the weather. There's gonna be a flash, and it annoys me. I'm trying to figure out how to turn it off. But that's where it is. If you have one of these devices, it turns your TV on. It does this, it does that. It'll start your coffee. And those are things that you think now you don't want, but you will because they save time and convenience.
Well, I know my brother has a medical device, and whenever his sugar hits a certain point, it starts beeping or whatever. He said it's so annoying, but it makes him do the right thing.
But those are the things that you have, like, and if they have the one with the app, right? It does something. There's a thing you put on your arm, and it does an app, and all these.
Exactly.
So those are things medically that are going to help us health-wise.
A lot of people used to call that a wife, but okay. Now medical device will just, do
so
what they
these
used
are the
to call
things,
nagging. See, when the device does it, it's an alarm, but when the wife does it, you're nagging me. Okay,
you're nagging.
So now you just shoot this thing in your arm and it's all good.
So it's like when there's medication you have to take 3 times a day or a certain time of the day, and then you have the little plastic thing you had to put the pill. You're not going to do that. You're going to have something is going to be where it reminds you, or hey Dave, you got to take your medicine.
What about just like the thing for the pets? At 3 o'clock, your meds come down and you just take what's in the tray.
Right.
Or if you get to the Neuralink stuff, it'll just release it into your brain at a certain time.
And it's that.
I ain't with that one.
I'm not either.
Elon Musk, anybody else but him.
And I wouldn't even if it was somebody else, I'm not letting you put stuff in my brain unless.
Well, I would want where you got to put something. It would have to be like a what the little patches for smoking, and you. I would do that. But you're not getting in here.
Topical. That's
right.
Yes, topical or wearable
inside your brain.
No. It has to get to the point where it doesn't have to be embedded, and it will get there.
Right. Because they will figure out they're going to do. There was some stuff. I know I've seen some kind of science or whatever where the paper is so thin that they put it on, but it has little nanofibers coming out of it, and you put it on your skin, and
we did a show on that. Yeah,
and it interacts with your skin. I mean, and like it gets to the nerves. I don't know how they're gonna figure all of that out, because
that's gonna be your instead of you buying the latest Apple, what you're gonna buy that thing that slips on your hand. The little whisper thing, you won't even know it's there, and you're gonna do like the Vision Pro. These are things that are coming. I don't know when, but they're coming.
Yeah,
So
you'll be talking about it, and it's like, I remember when we used to do StreamYard and we had to set the camera up and
So these what I'm saying about this Gemini, and this going to be to the point where we're not going to be aware that it is AI. It just will do the things that we wanted to do, which is what as humans we're like, okay, just do what I want. I don't care. I don't care how it gets done. Right?
Just do it.
We love that.
I don't need to know how it works.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't care.
A light switch. I don't care. I just want to know when I flick this thing,
the light is coming on.
Yeah. Is it going to do what I wanted to do?
Exactly.
Okay, so right. So getting back to this Google Gemini thing. So they've got the new tool Help Me Write, and I've seen it when you go into the Google Gmail or the documents. There's a little bar that pops up. It's Help Me Write and a couple of other things that are there. So this is what's in there. Now I have it. I'm probably because I'm in the labs. I don't know if you have to turn it on. I'm trying to see. So the Gemini tool is the Help Me Write feature from Gmail, extended to the entire web and powered by one of Google's latest Gemini AI models. So this came out in January. It's in the experimental. Yes. So it's in Google Labs. You have to turn it on. I think I turned mine on and forgot and went and was like, what is this? I just ignored it because I'm like, I don't need help writing. But it's there.
I think mine is on like auto. I don't know if it's because I was in the lab or whatever, but when I go in, it has if I type in a search, Gemini always gives me the search information up top.
Yes, now that I have that, yes, but I mean when you go into like a Gmail and you do new mail, like
Gmail.
Yeah, when you go in Gmail for a new document, when you go to Google Docs for a new document, when you go into any of those, it says that there's a little toolbar that's like the AI part of it that let me help you write. And I ignore it because I turned it on and forgot about it because I don't use it for that. I use it for I go to ChatGPT and paste what I need. So
right.
But it's there if you need it.
Right. And like we were talking about on Tuesday, I think ChatGPT and I got two distinctively different answers and experiences when I went in to have them write something for me.
Right. Okay, so I got one more on Google, and then and then I have another story which goes into Tachi's media stuff, but I know she had to take a call. But I will if she's not ready, I will go into it.
Okay.
It's half AI, half media. All right, so Google has paused Gemini's ability to generate people because there is some issue about they are overcorrecting for diversity in historical images. Now, if you haven't heard what this is that when you use the Gemini image feature generation to make images, it's not making it correct. I saw a couple examples. One of them was like George Washington. I think one was, give me an image of George Washington, and one of them was a black George Washington, which is historically incorrect.
Well, is it George Washington Carver?
No, president. Give me an image of President George Washington. President George Washington, who is a white man. So what they're saying is that Google has written this diversity thing into image generation to give you diversity. Historical figures cannot be diverse if you're doing something that's factual.
If they're true to the
argument. So they have paused this image generation part of Gemini because they need to fix it. And that's not the only example. That's just one of many. And people are online saying that this, what's going on. One of the examples was, I think, something about a German person. Hold on, let me see. It was images of Nazis, America's founding fathers, and the Pope. Those were some of the ones that I saw. Like they did the Declaration of Independence. Like the image of the founding fathers.
Yes.
Signing the Declaration. Okay, so who's in there? When they did the images, they all came back as people of color.
Franklin and Adams and all.
Yeah. So that's creatively not a problem. Creatively not a problem. But if you're looking for something, I need a historical picture to go with my book or my this or my that, which has to be historically correct. All of the founding fathers were white. I'm sorry, that's just how it was.
So well, here's the thing. Hey, I'm back, by the way. Here's the thing. For the first time, normally with anything that's AI, it is pulling teeth to get them to, put anybody on there that's darker than a paper bag.
Yeah.
And so now the
Agreed.
one time that it does it, it's loud and wrong.
Well, not the one time. What the problem is that Google has written something into the code to give you that every time.
No, I don't mean physically the one
That's
time.
That's an overcorrection. There's a way to do this where it's not George Washington is a black man versus this getting what you want. And so Google hasn't figured that out. So they paused it. You cannot make any images. So they figure out how to write the algorithm where it gives you what you're supposed to get.
Okay, so what is that when you live in a parallel universe and we're on the upside down world?
Yeah.
And it's not a problem if you're doing something creatively. It's not a problem. It's historically that they need an image of the
like if you need a picture for Hamilton, you're okay.
Well, you know what? With things like that, a lot of these images are already in the public domain. So why even go for an AI created image where things could, like I tried to do something today. This woman had 3 hands. I'm like, sirs, black people don't have 3 hands.
The hands right.
Well, I think too. Here's another concern. Parents, you need to check your children's homework because they don't know. I don't have any pictures of the founding fathers, hanging around my house. So they may not be aware that, I recognize that there may be some slaves in the family, but everybody up in here.
But you know what? You are so right. It as I remember when I was, I think I was in 4th grade, and you know how, and this is no disrespect to anyone, but like Jehovah's Witnesses had come by the house and they left some what's a name. So I was supposed to I went to Catholic school, so I had to do a religion project. I said, I need some sources. I didn't know. I said, oh, this is perfect.
Exactly.
And I did. I put on the thing. I was like, God has a name. His name is Jehovah. Because I didn't know.
Oh my goodness.
But we will look for source material wherever. So case in point, you do have to be careful of what's around, because if it's not readily available, you will take the Kingdom Hall booklet and use it in your project.
Exactly. And see, again, like I said, when we talk about things here, we're all knowledgeable. There's a whole bunch of people out there that are not knowledgeable, and they're going to run with whatever they're given. And we've seen it, ChatGPT, they just copy and paste. They don't even check or even think about it. So here we go. So that's what, there was an outcry because it was they had overcorrected. So now they're pausing it to figure out how to do it where it gives you what you want, and also historically correct.
This is okay. Let it be out there for a minute. Let them get used to being.
No. If you're doing it creatively, it's fine. I mean, if you want,
I understand, but I'm just saying, let other people experience what we have experienced.
Yeah.
Well, we've been experienced for a while. We put something in, it's like, that ain't what I asked for.
Right.
Okay.
And after all, it is Black History Month, so why not?
Let it roll.
Hey.
And
all right,
who says they weren't? Look, we weren't back there almost 300 years ago, so who knows what was happening?
Just saying.
I got one more that kind of leads into Tachi's area, media. So I mean, she probably is going to talk about it. So I hope. So I'm just bringing it up. So Tyler Perry has put his $800 million studio expansion on hold because he saw OpenAI's Sora. Remember Sora, the
Yes.
tool that you're testing that is text to video? Well,
Yeah.
he saw that and he was like, stop, because he's not going to need studio space to make video. He's already got enough, right? So he's saying that he was going to add on some sound stages,
Oh,
and he said he's not going to do it because he saw the Sora,
yeah.
he saw the Sora demo.
Mhm.
And then he
Capabilities. Yeah.
said, here's his quote: being told that it can do all these things is one thing, but actually seeing the capabilities, it was mind blowing. And then the article from the Hollywood Reporter that they go in and they ask him questions and things, and he's watching. He says he's been watching AI very closely, so he's like, he goes into stuff. So I didn't know if Dr. Tachi was going to talk about it. I just brought it up as a bridge.
You know I am.
Okay.
And
So I just wanted to bring that up that it was because of OpenAI's Sora tool, which isn't out yet. They just did a demo and everybody's
I want access to that. Okay.
right. So, but it's not this. They haven't released it to the public.
Okay, Dr. Tachi, let's talk because
Yeah. All right. Well, let's lead off with that since this is very interesting. So to expand upon that, he was slated to expand his Atlanta studio, and it was a whole $800 million undertaking. But he's according to him, this after seeing Sora's shocking text to video model, it's a wrap for that. So he says this: I am very, very concerned that in the near future, a lot of jobs are going to be lost because of the OpenAI technology. He's not that concerned because he's not doing the $800 million expansion, apparently. He told the Hollywood Reporter, being told that it can do all of these things is one thing, but actually seeing the capabilities, it was mind blowing, as you said. So if you don't know, he has a film that premieres on Netflix next Friday called Mea Culpa. And so I don't know if you're into Tyler Perry, check that out. But this $800 million would have added 12 more sound stages to what he already has. I can't remember how many sound stages Tyler Perry Studios has.
It's okay. It said added 12 sound stages to his 330-acre property. I don't know how many he has.
Yeah, I don't know how many.
Remember he had the big unveiling, and every sound stage was named after like Sidney Poitier and Whoopi Goldberg. I think that he was adding on to that.
Right. So Spike Lee has a sound stage. Also, Oprah Winfrey has a sound stage. The actress.
Halle Berry, did he have one for her?
No, not that I remember.
I'm trying to remember the names, like the famous names that are on it. Will Smith has one?
Maybe.
No, I don't know. I'm trying to. I'm thinking of the video, like watching the video in my head, going, "Now who was there? Who was there?"
Yes. So there were a lot of people that were there. So this would have, made something big because it's already the largest studio in the U.S. Tyler Perry Studios is at 300 acres. It's already the largest. So this would have made it larger than the largest, I guess. But I think what he's doing is the direction that a lot of the studios are trying to look at. But this is also what SAG-AFTRA, the Writers Guild, etc. This is also what they were against and wanted protections against. I think so. I'll get into that, but let me say what else he said. He continued on with, I know I would no longer have to travel to locations. If I wanted to be in the snow in Colorado, it's text. If I wanted to write a scene on the moon, it's text. And AI can generate it like it's nothing. Now, let me stop him there. This is true, but it follows that you need to be a good writer and a good prompt engineer in the first place for it to be something. This is no disrespect to him. Some people love Tyler Perry films and love Tyler Perry's work, but it's no secret that sometimes the writing is a little amiss. So what we're doing now is just taking a level of writing and then transplanting it for AI to handle, I don't know. So, and we still have a way to go before AI can completely generate an entire movie with realistic movements of the lips and dialogue that matches. It still has a way to go. I do see what he was trying to do in terms of future-proof things, but don't put all your bets on the next Medea being Medea 35 AI AI in the church. Don't put all your bets on that.
I agree with what Mark Ward says here. He says maybe he can use AI to write better scripts. Just saying.
It
I
can't
mean,
be worse.
you know, I mean, and redundant. I mean, okay.
Yeah. Again, this is no disrespect to him, but he is
Well,
if he's not a great script writer, I think it's because he tried to do everything himself and not take any criticism or constructive criticism. So if you already think what you do is great, you don't think anything needs changing or to be changed. So yeah,
well, but I don't know what I can say. He's in a lot better financial situation than I am. So I
oh,
just
absolutely.
but I do have an opinion.
Yeah, no, but everybody has, at some point, everybody has fans. Even if you have one fan and nobody else likes you, you have that one fan that will rock with you. So the whole thing is he has fans that will rock with him despite whatever. So he
He has
calls
an
for,
audience.
yeah, he has an audience. Since the Chitlin circuit plays, okay, since the stage plays. So it's basically updated Chitlin circuit. But so he called for
just real quick, because I'm thinking like because with TV, there's all kind of things to watch. There's reality, there's this and that. I was thinking of that show Jackass. I never watched it, but it had an audience.
It
Beat
did.
the butthead. Was it gospel worthy stuff? No, it had an audience, and that's what TV cares. Media cares about the audience.
That they care about eyeballs, that because media cares about advertising, right?
Yeah.
So they care about the audience because that's their conduit to advertising.
That's how they get the advertising. Yeah,
exactly. So they care about you just as that. Your numbers to them, which is why I'm
Just
so
a
in love with
number.
live streaming. I really am. So again, he called it a game changer that could potentially let filmmakers produce movies and pilots at a fraction of the cost. But as I said before, he's very, very concerned that in the near future, a lot of jobs are going to be lost. Now, let me say this. I don't think that is the whole story. Jobs will be lost. And I'm even saying this to SAG-AFTRA and WGA and any of the other guilds that are concerned about this. Jobs will be lost by people who don't understand how to leverage AI.
Or how to pivot.
Or how to pivot and incorporate AI in what they're doing. That's where the jobs are going to be lost. For the people who want to continue to
put their head in the sand,
right, and say and fight it. That's the thing, and fight it. Oh, we don't want. Okay, you have to. Guess what? It's happening. It's inevitable. There's nothing you can do except educate yourself and become proficient. Become the bomb prompt engineer, or team up with other people who are, and create your own things and go direct to audience. But because the system is so entrenched in a quote Hollywood and media system that goes through big middlemen, middle people to exist, you don't want to do it, or they don't think they can do it. And I understand it's a scary proposition to try and do these things on your own. And even when it comes to that, it's okay, well, let me see how I can work with the studios to make this forget them. Why are you begging them so much?
Remember we were talking last week, Dr. Tachi, about this, and I was saying about I forgot the Black Lady sketch show, and she had an audience, and why
Robin Thede.
This ties into that. And like you said, there's a fear of a fear. I it's too big. I won't be able to do it. I don't know how to do it. I just a bunch of things stopping you, but it's there.
No problem. You don't have to. Right? Somebody else will.
Yeah. And I love to bring up the analogy whenever we talk about this, about, the jobs are being lost. I said, well, horse and buggy industry said the same thing. Oh, what do we do? Well, when the cars came around, what happened? You had to get your head out of the sand, pivot, and make a change. If you were making whatever for the horse and buggy carriage industry, well, you better figure out how to make it for the auto industry.
Yeah, that's
Same
exactly
thing.
that's exactly the
That's
point.
where we are.
So my thing is, if people, the blacksmiths who made horseshoes, were sitting there marching, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but if they
Right.
were sitting there and saying, we want to still keep making horseshoes, we're going to protest against the auto industry because we want to keep making horseshoes. And let me say, to an extent, that's what happens with why we don't have municipal good public transportation, because they keep getting lobbied by oil and auto industry,
Right.
etc. But instead of pivoting
Right.
to how can I be in on it, let me just cut it off at the pass so it doesn't happen. So really, all of these things are to the detriment of the populace, so that the small 1% can keep whatever they have. So I'm not trying to preach here, but it's the same thing with all of this. So
You're right. If you were making horseshoes, you could still make them. It's just that instead of you making whatever 100 million, whatever you were making, you're not going to make that. You're going to have a small subset of that market. Now, there's still a market for horse and buggy or carriages or whatever, because they do race. There's some kind of races where they use
Well, they
what do they
used to
call
do
the
that
thing?
here. The bug it's
Yes, in California.
yeah, buggy races and stuff. They used to do
Buggy
that
racing,
here.
and they need people that know how to make the buggy, which is
Right.
from when we used to use that mode of trans. So it doesn't go away. It just gets smaller, smaller, niche. So
it's very niche at this point. And
yeah,
so
it's very niche. It's not, it disappeared completely. It's not a dinosaur, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, Carlos has a comment. He
I
says,
still buy horseshoes for my
for my
Tesla.
Tesla works great.
I'm sure it does, Carlos Phoenix.
But that's Tati is right. Instead of I make horseshoes, yes, my business is not going to go under. It's going to be dramatically reduced. Let me figure out how to get some of this new stuff instead of let's protest out in front of the Ford auto plant. See?
So you're right. So here's the thing: there's a mixture of emotional intelligence and reason that you have to use for these types of things. We need that emotional intelligence, which includes empathy, to understand that these are people that have only ever done things this way, and to switch it does take some effort, and it will be hard. But the people who are able to endure and make the pivot or include that in what they do are the ones that are going to persevere. It's just like let's look at, for example, evolutionary change. Say you're an animal and your mouth is a particular way. If you decided that you no longer like that you don't want this new change because you want to do it the old way, and I can only drink water this way, well, then you'll just die of thirst because it's not going to change. You're still going to have this evolutionized, which is not a word, but this evolutionized mouth. And just simply because you want it the old way doesn't make it happen. So let's take this, and it's a silly example, but it's true. Simply because we want things the old way does not mean that they will go back and revert. Sometimes we see a reversion to certain things, but for the most part, we've moved on. So I need us to know that we moved on. What can, if you're an actor, right? First of all, you shouldn't just be an actor. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but this economy requires multiple streams of income. What else are you doing? All right. So if you want to keep acting, what is the next logical progression? Well, producing your own stuff. How do I produce my own stuff? Well, I don't have backers. I don't have the money to do it, but I can probably get on board with this AI program. Can I create some animated things? Can I do this? Can I have an ad hoc studio that produces these things? Or am I so? But see, the people that are too entrenched in the system the way it is will say, no, well, it needs to be distributed through this. Forget that. So I can't. Mindset is important.
I love that you're saying it, and I brought it up earlier about this Club Shay Shay. I was watching the Country Wayne episode. Please watch that one. He's talking about what
Country Wayne
just said about figuring it out. About how do I just? Shannon asked him, how did he start? you had a whole production. He said, no, I started with my phone. And he said he did something with his kids and it made $70 and then a light bulb went off on his head. And then he figured it out. And he said in the last 3 years he made $20 million posting skits on Facebook. You heard me. Facebook. He don't even do TikTok. He said, I'm sitting back trying to figure out It's a fascinating discussion about the media, what Dr. Tachi just said about figuring it out, about where things are going, the multiple streams of income, and all of that. It's a fascinating story. I still haven't finished it. It's 3 hours. But it's there.
I watched it. You know, because
you saw that one?
I did. I watched Country Wayne. Part of my
I never heard of him before. I never heard of him.
You know what, I didn't know much. I had heard it and I thought it was like a thing like, okay, Chicken George, Country Wayne. I didn't know that type of thing. But I didn't know much about him until I watched that. And so we'll get deeper into the woods with these types of things in a minute. But go ahead. Was there anything else?
No, I'm done. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, so this is interesting. We'll see what happens with that. At this point, talking about wanting to do it and actually doing it are two different things. I really don't want to be mean because I think there is space for all types of content, all types of reasonable content. Let's say that, and you can argue whether or not what he does is reasonable.
Okay, so let me. Why is it mean? It's not. I don't think you're being mean.
Yeah, no.
I'm out information that the lazy people, and I'll say it. You're lazy. It's right. It's here. You got one of these things. You use it to consume. Other people are figuring out using it to produce ownership, making money.
It's interesting too because this morning on Dr. Vibe's show, he had on Perry. I can't remember his last name, but he is a writer and author, and he's actually trying to create strategy software and get involved in technology, etc. So he's in the process of raising money for that now. So one of the things he said, and definitely I believe and agree with, is that we need to have more people of color at the table for AI and for technology, because part of the thing, like we were joking about George Washington and the Pope and them being black, the thing is, it's like, so when you need, like, I have to, the default, because it's programmed by people that don't look like us, the default is people that don't look like us. So if I just put in, generate an image of a woman sitting at a table in a cafe drinking coffee. When I did that, and I actually did that this morning, there were no black women, no women of color that did that, and even none. So I had to specify that. Should I have to specify that when black people exist in the world?
There was an assumption for the other party.
Yes, there was an assumption made that womanhood does not look like us. And so these are the things that, this is why there needs to be diversity in technology and diversity in AI, because remember, and then we also need people, various types of people to train AI as well, because right now what's happened is the people that are training AI are trained, and I'm not even alleging that there was malicious intent involved, and I'm not even alleging this. I'm just alleging that their sphere of influence and that their worldview is so narrow that this is all they see, which is pretty sad. So I'm alleging that it's so narrow, this is all they see. I'm not even saying they're purposely doing that. They just don't know. That's sad. You're a whole grown person and I'm saying you don't know any better. That is so sad. I would be livid if somebody said, oh, well, you don't know any better. I would be livid. So you should work to make it better, because that's embarrassing if you don't know any better. That is embarrassing. Not in 2024 when the world looks like it does. That's embarrassing. So in any case, there are a lot
of... Dr. Tachi is it was Perry C. Douglas you're talking about on
yes.
Dr. Bob. Yeah, it's on his page. If you guys want to watch. Let me give you the link. I'll put the link in while you talk.
Okay, absolutely. So he was talking about that Perry C. Douglas. So he has some other controversial things that I'm not necessarily with, but when it comes to that, um, that was definitely spot on. So uh yeah, that's the thing. This is not just going to affect Tyler Perry, it's going to affect the entire media industry. With this, it's great, and this is wonderful in terms of storytelling if you're telling fictional stories, but we're getting to the point. I mean, for Terry, you actually showed that the news, the AI news, right? Remember you
Yeah,
showed
she had the newscaster.
yeah, the newscasters. So
Yes.
there's also a thing when it comes to the quote reality and the nonfiction telling of stories. How accurate this is going to be, what is this going to look like? So it's something that is going to affect all of the media industries, and I have no problem with it. Absolutely, this can be used for debauchery, but I see practical applications for this so much more than I see the. I'm not willing to be a doomsday or doomsayer. Is that whatever the heck the the thing is? I'm not willing to do that because I see there's promise in it, but there's promise in it if the right people get involved. We can't just always leave it up to open AI to do. Okay, they'll
Agreed.
do it. We
Yes.
have to get involved in it as
Agreed.
well. Mhm.
100%. We got to get involved.
Yeah. All right. So that's what's happening. Tyler Perry has seen the gold rush in AI, and he's no longer doing this. Let's talk a little bit about Vice.com. Do you all read Vice, the site? And remember, at
No,
one
I
time,
heard of it.
yeah, there was a Vice channel at one time. Well, the Vice Media Group is actually ceasing publishing, and they are laying off hundreds. That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So they're actually the Vice Media Group, they're a pioneer when it comes to digital media. Whenever you look, kind of like what BuzzFeed was, but Vice had like very heavy hitting stories. They produced a lot of documentaries. There was a whole channel on cable, etc., that you could watch. They did some great work, but they've announced plans to cease publishing on the flagship website Vice.com, and they revealed this in a memo to employees, and it's a significant setback to the company actually. So Bruce Dixon is the company's CEO, and he's saying that it's no longer cost effective to distribute the digital content in the manner that they've previously have done. And so they're moving towards partnering with established media companies to distribute their content, including news, on global platforms. And they're transitioning fully to a studio mode. So rather than a distribution, they're just producing and looking for distribution elsewhere through partnerships. So this is interesting. And this is according to Taxi, one of my favorite publications. So they say this. Taxi asked this development raises a curious question. What does the future hold for digital media companies in an ever evolving business landscape? And they're asking for thoughts on this. So I ask you that. I'm asking you all and the audience as well. What does the future hold for digital media companies?
I know they'll find a way to bully other people out of the business.
Mm, mm, mm. That is the bullying thing is definitely a thing. But you know what? That has always been the way that larger media conglomerates buy up these other things. And then you know what? Maybe the time is it just that the time for an outlet like Vice is past. Maybe we are very into we're in an interesting age because even though I enjoyed Vice and things like that, it's still very much curated content. We're definitely in the age of user generated content when it comes to brands, when it comes to other things. And so I'm wondering, well, maybe the time for that specific thing is past. Maybe they're right going into studio mode and not distributing.
Yeah,
So
there's a shift. That's what I was thinking this week. I said there's a shift with media as a whole. There's a shift.
Well, Carlos has a comment. Does someone want to read that?
Okay, I'll bring it up. Here we go. My perspective is that we build other media platforms that do not look or feel like other previous platforms. They are the ones that are falling apart. The old way is falling apart. Agreed.
Absolutely. And you know what, part of that is because again, we're all here to make money and to monetize, but I think that old media in some senses was too dependent on the monetization and in other senses was not dependent enough on monetization, and they were too dependent on old ways of monetization.
Well,
Not, and if it works,
mhm.
I'm not fixing it. If it's
Yeah,
not
and
broken, I'm not fixing it, you know?
the TV model worked because the networks control the content. Social media brought in the area where you control the content. YouTube. Why do you think they call it YouTube? I control what I watch to a certain point. It allowed you to put up the content that you wanted to put up. And now with the wider lady on TikTok, you can tell your story. Doesn't have to be produced. It can be you, but you have to tell a good story. It has to be a good story. You have to be good at telling it. Your
Yes.
outlet is here. This is your studio. Spike Lee made a movie on whatever he made. This is your Spike Lee with this thing.
Exactly.
I can't say it any plainer than that. The other part is your content. Who are you talking to? How you're saying it? Are they receptive to it? And that's the Risa Tisa lady.
Yes.
Love Shay
Yes.
Shay. The Cat Williams took off. Why? Because the audience was receptive to that. That audience made a big, oh, did you? And so there are people that culture watch. I'm going to call it. They culture watch us. And what did I say Tuesday? That they ride the back of the rhino over the river? Something I said or two. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. We make the dance. We do this. The Gen Z does that, and it takes off when the culture, what do you call them? Culture vultures, when they come and take it. And then it makes money, and it's like, okay, well, you can't get mad. You have to do from the jump. Let me figure out how I control this to where I own it. I'm the owner of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just unfortunate that she used that title because she can't copyright it. But
I wish she would not have.
Yeah, so but it got the attention though. The title was like, okay, with YouTube, it's the title and the thumbnail draws you in. The story continues, breadcrumbs. It's unfortunate, but I think she can go. I think she can pivot with that and call it something else.
Yeah,
take her community on the journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I see her actually do some lives with some people who have similar stories, and you know, put it out there, make it specifically, you know, make it a social media thing, make it a social media phenomenon. And I think it can really work, because the thing is, before, the power was up to the networks, the advertisers, the executives. So what was worthy was they were determining that. And I think we have the power to determine what is good content and what is worthy, but we just have to stop thinking that they're the standard. Now, I think having standards is great. You all know I'm a stickler for good production and the way things should be produced, because it shows that you also respect your audience to put your best foot forward. But that's not the only way to do things. Case in point, if you look at social media, most people don't put the amount of time I do into producing something because and making sure that it's edited. Most people don't do that. Most people don't care. And you know, somebody told me, one of my friends was like, because you know I'm also a reseller and a fashion person. They're like, she's like, you should start another YouTube channel with what's. I'm not going to do that. I don't have time to edit. She said nobody cares about that.
That's a lot of time. You don't, if you don't have the time or the inclination, no. That's taking on too much water, and then you sink.
Exactly.
So,
but her thing is like, she's like, nobody cares about that. Just slap up your videos. But I'm like, you
care.
Know me. I care. I can't do that.
It's like, okay, time management. What's the best use of my time?
Exactly. And slapping up just anything is like a step backward for me because I'm so produced. I do, stuff that's not always produced, but I'm very careful about what I put up. So just putting up anything is not for me. Some other people it works for if that's how you started, but yeah, no. So in any case, I think you're spot on, Carlos. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move on from that. There is a poll, yay, according to TV Technology, that it was commissioned by an opponent of the regulation uh, to regulate streaming services like cable. And so what they found in this poll is that the majority of people that took the poll oppose regulating streaming services the same way you would regulate cable. 57% oppose regulating streaming services like cable. So this is a national poll that came out of the Preserve Viewer Choice Coalition, and it found that viewers strongly prefer streaming service platforms access to video program over traditional video services like cable, and that a majority of consumers are opposed to the idea of regulating them, so for like a YouTube TV or a Fubo TV, by the same rules that govern traditional cable and satellite providers. That's nice, but I don't think they care. We could be opposed to it all we like, and it's been shown over and over that even in our opposition, legislators do what they like anyway when it comes to these things. So this is a huge FCC thing. But the Preserve Viewer Choice Coalition is backed by ABC, CBS, Fox, Fubo, NBC, Roku, Telemundo, Univision, and Warner Brothers Discovery. So the spokesperson for the organization says this: the data shows that streaming services are the preferred viewing method for many Americans. Viewers want the ability to choose their content and control costs, and oppose proposals for the FCC to regulate streaming like cable, which jeopardizes those priorities. Interesting. So some more findings from this poll. Fewer than 1 in 5 find it difficult to stream local news, and far more watch local news on phones, laptops, and tablets than watch on TV. Also, more Americans also viewers strongly prefer streaming videos, 64%, to watching it via cable or satellite, which is only 23%. That's big. That's big. Live streaming services, including YouTube TV and Fubo, are also popular, with 45% of Americans saying they view video content on those platforms. Almost half of Americans, 48%, indicate they never watch cable or satellite TV, and 3 in 4 say they never watch antenna TV. So where are we? Streaming.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Are the people who are opposing the regulation, or the people in favor of the regulation, did I hear you say that was the CBS, ABC, and the rest of them? Or they are?
They are opposing regulation to regulate streaming services like they would cable, because remember, all of them have streaming services.
Correct. Okay. I thought I was hearing that. I was like, oh, so cable people are probably
Listen, you all are the ones we're talking about. You need to learn to pivot. If you see that this is an issue, why are you hanging so tightly to that copper wire coaxial cable that nobody cares about anymore? Some people are still going to hang on because they don't know anything different. Granted, it is difficult to make a switch to something you don't know or understand. That's human nature. But to hold so tightly, I mean, these companies hold tightly to things until all the cracks cause it to crumble. They will never pivot unless they are forced to do so. And really, it's almost like going down with the Titanic. They won't switch unless they absolutely have to. And everything has probably crumbled to that point before they're like, well, I guess we should switch.
Come get this antenna, this dish off my roof.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I don't know how many people still have an antenna. Antenna is really for picking up local channels. I do.
I saw a commercial the other day for Dish TV without the dish.
Isn't that called streaming?
It's called streaming, but they in other words, you still got a dish up there. Don't leave us, because
Come get the dish off my root. Somebody can have really good employment business. Dish removal service.
Listen, they have, and it just shows the evolution of things because remember prior to like DirecTV and Dish Network, where, and here's the failure with those is that you have to be or be facing a certain way for it to work. Because I remember like in the early 2000s, I was trying to get Dish, but my balcony where they would have put it was not facing the right direction, so I couldn't get it. So, you know, something like streaming solves all of that. Streaming solves all of that. So, I mean, so did cable, but it was so ridiculously expensive. It's not worth it for most people. And so this is again a reason why they don't want those heavy regulations in streaming. And most people, according to this poll, don't either. Okay, I just have a few more things.
Carlos had a question. He says, do you think regulating will lead to higher profits?
Oh, that's a good question. That is excellent. No, because often what happens with regulation is there are so many regulations put in place, and it does not. Often what happens is profits and things go down because of those regulations. So you can't do as you were doing before because now I've slapped a regulation on it. So that probably means, okay, well, I can't offer this. All we have to do is look at what is the terminology again? Why am I not thinking of it? With internet and having it open to all rather than being throttled, or the people that, net neutrality. Okay. So let's look at net neutrality, right? Which is the concept that it's open to all rather than only the people who can afford to do it. So when you take away net neutrality, what happens is those who can afford to pay more for better speeds and not throttling will do that. Those who can't, too bad for you. And so net neutrality kind of erases all of that, right? So if you have net neutrality in place, then that means that ISPs cannot charge you more for certain things, right? Because it's supposed to be a neutral internet. So obviously that's going to cut down on the profits. But if you don't have that regulation in place and I can do what the hell I like, I'm going to be raking in the profits. Now, is it, I think the question here is this morally sound and is this morally correct? That's a different case and that's a different question. But often more regulation does lead to decrease in profits. And that's not because these companies were doing things all right and upright, outstanding citizens to begin with. Often this is at the expense of the people where they're charging more for certain things. They're tacking on fees and all of that. So the moment you say you can't do that, that's not right, all of that goes away and there are less profits. But I think there are ways to make reasonable moral profits that don't include fooling people.
Okay.
Oh, the advertiser. Yeah. Well, that's what happens when if you have regulation, regulation can sometimes dictate that. Not that it has, but if you have regulations where you said, okay, well, you can, and actually it has, where they said, okay, only certain types of ads can be from this time to this time, that you cannot have ads for products from this time to this time. So there has been regulation when it comes to those things. So I think you're relaying to that being a good thing. So yeah, in that case, regulation is good because you don't want alcohol commercials during kids' cartoon shows. That's inappropriate. That doesn't work. So, but if you could let advertisers say, well, I want to do through here because these tweens, they'll soon be drinking Red Bull or whatever. So we want it there. If you did not have these types of regulations, then that would go on. So yes, I think regulations can be a good thing, but yes, it can kill profits because it doesn't allow companies to do whatever the hell they want to do. If that clarifies, Carlos. Ha! See, look at you. Anyway, so yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so that is what is that? I have some pop culture stories that I want to talk about. Let's talk about, since we are still in Fashion Month. New York Fashion Week just ended. I think we are now in Paris Fashion Week, or did we end Paris yesterday and then going on to Milan? Whatever, it's still Fashion Month, and so let's talk a little bit about fashion. Zara, the fast fashion brand Zara. If you know anything about Zara, I have, God bless Zara, because they have the runway look down, but their clothes aren't worth a damn after you wash them a few times. Hence, fast fashion. Okay, so but Zara is trying to take on Shein with a low price brand of their own called Lefties. Now, here's the thing: Zara is fast fashion, but it is not cheap. Some of these things could be like $100 or so when you get down to it. They've got like jackets and things, and it's like 100. That's not cheap fast fashion. But it's fast fashion. Now, Shein, in case you didn't know, one of the biggest websites is Shein, because Shein is a Chinese retailer. They're known for clothing and shoes and accessories, but they also sell home things. They also sell furniture, etc. So they've really expanded to their offering. So Shein is huge, and it is all at low prices, right? So of course Shein was shaking in their boots a little bit when Temu became a thing, because that's what Temu does as well, at cheaper prices than Shein does, to be honest. So now Zara is trying to take on Shein. They have a low priced brand called Lefties. And first of all, they're owned. Zara is owned by Inditex, and they're the world's largest listed fast fashion company by sales. So they're trying to make these strategic moves to go ahead and compete with Shein. So they have a Gen Z focused brand called Lefties, and it started off as an outlet for Zara leftovers. That's where Lefties comes from. So interestingly enough, Lefties growth shows that Inditex wants a foothold in the value end of the market, even though it successfully boosted profits at Zara, right? And it's Zara itself. So in Spain, where Lefties has 25 stores, they've grown from around 3.5 million customers in 2019 to 5 million customers in 2023, which puts it just behind Shein with 5.2. So we're going to start to see more of this type of stuff. So I thought it was interesting. And since it's Fashion Month, I wanted to put in a fashion story. I just love fashion. How about that? All right, moving on. Let's see. Okay, I have another media story. I'll come back to pop culture. Wendy Williams, in case you did not know, has been diagnosed with
Yes.
primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia. And this is according to a press release from the show host herself, the former talk show host, and her medical team. So Wendy Williams is 59, and she hosted the Wendy Williams show for more than on TV for more than a decade, because she was on radio far before that. And she's been open in the past with her health struggles, which includes Graves' disease and a thyroid condition. And she was diagnosed with this in 2023. And these diagnoses have enabled Wendy to get the medical care that she needs, according to the press release. So the press release notes this: the decision to share this news was difficult and made after careful consideration, not only to advocate for understanding and compassion for Wendy, but to raise awareness about aphasia and frontotemporal dementia and support the thousands of others facing similar circumstances. So they continue saying Wendy is still able to do many things for herself. Most importantly, she maintains her trademark sense of humor and is receiving the care she requires to make sure she is protected and that her needs are addressed. She is appreciative of the many kind thoughts and good wishes being sent her way. That's really unfortunate. So, we wish the best for Wendy, media personality extraordinaire.
Mm.
Yes. All right, let's talk about some more research. And this is tech, but it's still media as well. So almost half of adults on TikTok have never posted a video, according to research. I'm not surprised. This is why you don't know who to follow, because there's so many people on there who just have blank accounts with nothing, right? So adults on TikTok tend to be camera shy, according to a new study from the Pew Research Center. They did a survey of over 2,700 adults, so 2,745, who use TikTok. And they revealed that 48% of respondents have never posted a video, and the typical user hasn't even updated their bio. So it's not abnormal, actually, to prefer lurking on TikTok to making original content. And that's not just TikTok, it's social media in general. In fact, early researchers of social media coined something called the 1% rule to explain how we engage on platforms. So this idea is 1% of people create the content online, and 10% will engage with that content, and the remainder of people will just view it. So it's still, this is a little bit outdated because this was proposed in 2006 when YouTube was only like a year old. And I've actually been on YouTube since the beginning. I just wasn't making content. So, but this prevailing idea still basically holds true, that it's more common to lurk online than to post. So interesting. I found this fascinating. I mean, it's something that you can kind of see, but I think the thing now is why, why is that? And the article doesn't really go into the why behind it. It feels like they were just trying to get the quantitative, the numbers, but I'd be interested as to why people don't create content.
I might have a answer for part of that. On YouTube, I monitor our streams for the church, right? So in order for people to watch us, they can click on the link. Now, YouTube allows you to go in without you signing up, so to speak. You can watch a YouTube without like clicking in. And if they ask you to log in, or, hey, why don't you sign up? And then people sign up, but they don't put anything up there. They just signed up so they can watch what they wanted to see. And so therefore you have all these people who have these accounts, but they're not actually using them, because when I go back and check, oh, so-and-so signed up, let me see what they're all about. And I go click on it. They have no videos. Mm-hmm. They are just, they only have that YouTube account specifically so they can watch other YouTubes. They're not using it for anything else.
And that makes perfect sense. That makes a lot of sense. I myself, at the very beginning, that was like when it was just really a lot of cat videos. I was using YouTube as a repository to store video as opposed to actually creating it for release, for distribution. I was storing stuff there. So that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that perspective. So I have one final thing that for those of you that are looking to get some insights into the technology that's driving today's TV business, if that's your thing, take a look at this. There is something called the TV Tech Summit. It's happening Thursday, March 28th. And it is virtual. It's like a half day of things. And these are some of the things you can learn, and it's free. You can learn about the future of TV technologies from experts, also explore topical issues like new production, next generation broadcasting, and more. And you can hear about the latest tech innovations that are shaking up the TV industry. And generally what happens is that they also talk a lot about streaming. I have been to a lot of TV technologies things, both in person and online. And if you're into this type of thing, it is really, really great. So all you have to do is register. You go to www.tvtechsummit.com and you'll be able to go there. So TV Tech Summit, all one word, .com, and you'll be able to register. You just answer some questions and register, and you get a free half day of sessions. And that's what I have for you. I think you're muted, Fran.
Thank you so much. I was over there playing with the Tech Summit thing.
Yeah, I was over there too, going there.
What?
Yeah, definitely register. I'm at these things all the time. So I will definitely let you all know. Anybody who's interested, just contact me for these things. I probably need to publish something with all of this stuff, but laziness. So
No, I think it is other things to do, Ness. Not necessarily.
that too. But the thought of, even if I didn't have something to do, to sit there and do I want to do that? Not necessarily, but
There's a lot of stuff going on and not
And
enough time to do it.
And that is why on Fridays you can come here and the Tech Divas will bring you information. So you can come here every Friday to get your fill, and you don't have to go comb the web to find things. So we want to say thank you for tuning in here live. Dr. Tachi, please follow her pretty much anywhere on online. I was going to say the web, but follow Dr. Tachi, follow TJ. Terry and I will be here for BizChicks all the time. And if you are, if you are I was going to say in the area. Oh, yes, thank you, Terry. If you would like to be a part of the BizChicks community, just text Biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. We will be back. TJ is going to be back with us on Tuesday with some more marketing and social media stuff to help you understand that social media is not a thing anymore. It's just media, but you need to understand the twists and turns and the pivots and things that are happening. And Dr. Tachi Media Scope will be coming back pretty soon, I think. Whenever it comes back, you need to tune in or be more There's so many things that she produces that will be of benefit to you. So please take time to get to know her, get to know I was going to call her Dr. TJ, Dr. Tachi and TJ, and we have Carlos and other people who tune in with us. We want to say thank you. All the way from sunny California, Dallas, Texas, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and
Florida,
Manhattan, New York. Thank you again. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to another opportunity where we can help you take the hassle out of your hustle so that you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.